Among the thousands, more than 2,200 served in Afghanistan. For some military veterans, the war doesn't end after they leave the battlefield and come home. In fact, things can get worse if they suffer from a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder. For family members, especially children dealing with the PTSD of a loved one, there can be all kinds of anxiety and guilt. CCTV's Mei Lee has insight on how a new children's book hopes to ease the burden for kids and their families.
Maxwell is a Labrador Retriever and one of two heroes in a new children's book, Dog Tag Tales, Maxwell Finds a Friend, by first-time author Caitlin Theobald. The other hero is her husband, Brent, a U.S. Special Forces Marine who served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen. After returning to the U.S., Brent rescued Maxwell from death row at a local shelter and named him in memory of his brother-in-arms, Jason Maxwell, who died while parachuting in 2003. Like so many veterans, Brent suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. One night, with gun in hand, Brent was ready to end his life. But Maxwell put a paw on his leg and stopped him from pulling the trigger. From that moment on, Brent vowed to work through his PTSD.
Maxwell taught me how to trust again and ultimately how to love again just by being there for me.
You see this strong, obviously handsome, kind of together person feeling very much alone in the world, and then this little puppy, just seeing the best in him.
For Caitlin, telling the story of her husband and Maxwell through a children's book was the best way to give hope to other families dealing with PTSD.
It's an inner brokenness that happens, and the community isn't aware of how deep the struggle can be, which is why this book is important.
PTSD experts say open dialogue within the family can help ease any anxiety or guilt children may have.
The child wants to hear clearly that what happens with the father, it's not their fault, they shouldn't be blamed, it's not something they did or they didn't do.
The book is already speaking to the hearts of kids, like 10-year-old Colin Hentz.
Sometimes the man would have bad dreams about the war. Maxwell would lick his face and wake him up, then they could go back to sleep peacefully.
Why is that your favorite part?
Because sometimes that happens to me in the middle of the night, or dogs lick me in the face, and if I have bad dreams like that, then that happens to me as well. And it's kind of a happy part of that story.
And happy is the best that any child, adult, and dog could ever want.
Happy girl.
Mei Lee, CCTV, Murrieta, California.